All right. There we are. All right. So, yeah, well, it looks like we're at our maximum number on the Zoom account. So I hope that people do go to the YouTube if they want to see this. And I will record it so that we can share it. Okay. And record. Let's see, what am I doing here? Before I hit that record button, I got to get my shit together. Oh, God. Okay, record to the cloud. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lunar Eclipse Special webinar Zoom event, hosted by New Paradigm Astrology on this day of May 15th, 2022. And this is, in one sense, it is a special event that we're broadcasting to everyone. On another level, we do a Sunday weekly Zoom call with and for the New Paradigm School of Astrology, where we've got over 500 students learning and studying astrology together on Telegram and with Zoom, and a library of videos. And, you know, this Sunday, I mean, so every Sunday we have a get together. This Sunday is special because of not only the lunar eclipse, but we're introducing a new faculty member. I have an amazing evolutionary astrologer and old friend. I first met her in 2013. She came to a workshop in Cocoa Beach, Florida. Her name is Brandy Price. She has her own mystery school where she teaches psychic development. She teaches the magical arts, High Magick, and Tauroes, and evolutionary astrology. She's really an amazing individual. She will be sharing on this call today, along with our other New Paradigm Astrology School graduates. So we have a whole program, and we've graduated Arwehn and Gonca. Arwehn and Gonca are both graduates of the school, and they will be presenting a little bit about the eclipses today. So it's not just going to be me talking for the entire time. We're going to bounce the ball around. Unfortunately, and due to the eclipse, I found out an hour ago that Jessica Bork, she also writes the Lunar Planner for us. She's a faculty member. Lives in Hawaii, and she went to the hospital yesterday. She got suddenly sick, and even thought she might be better by morning and be able to join us, but she is like with a fever, down and out, and so boom. I'm sorry that we will not be able to have Jessica share with us. Our other faculty member, Cindy, is traveling in Thailand right now. And besides it being very early in the morning over there, she is on the road. Or somewhere. She could be on a boat or a plane. I'm not really sure, but she's on the move. So she's not able to join us. So that does give each of us a little more time to share with you. And what we're going to do is we're going to pass the baton from one to the other. Each one of us talking about a different aspect, a different element having to do with these eclipses. And then I am going to come on last and go take the eclipses through the 12 houses. So hopefully you have your birth chart with you, or you know your birth chart enough to know where the north node of the moon and the sun, 25 degrees of Taurus. Do you know what house 25 degrees of Taurus falls in your personal chart? Because that will take the overall general energy and influence of the eclipse and personalize it for you more directly. So I'm going to take it through the 12 houses to give you a sense and an idea, okay, of what this is going to be for you more personally. Yeah. So hang on for that. Hang in there for that. At the end of each presentation, each one of the speakers will give you time for a question and answers. So you want to open your chat box, and if anything that they bring up or say, or so we're going to have a presentation, question and answer for that particular speaker. Next speaker, question and answer. Next speaker, question and answer. I come on at the end, and then we'll have just a general where you can ask questions about anything having to do with the eclipses or astrology. Yeah? Okay. And so with that, let's have no more ado. I am very excited to introduce, if you don't know her already, Gonca. She is from Turkey, and I know she wants to talk about it a little bit, but she's actually organizing our tour and journey to the origins of time coming up in July to Göbekli Tepe. And I'm going to just let her talk about that a little bit more. But she's really going to be talking about the deeper meaning, the psychological, and, the intense transformational qualities of this Taurus Scorpio eclipse. Maybe before she does that, I could go into just, let me share my screen just briefly to give you a sense of what these eclipses are. Yeah. And what makes an eclipse. This is an eclipse. A picture of what's not in here is the Earth. So when we do your astrological chart, it's called geocentric. And it is as if the Earth or you or where you were born is the center. And from that perspective of the geocentric, the sun goes around and it creates a plane that is called the ecliptic. So the Earth and the sun are on this plane of the ecliptic, but the moon is not. The moon is not on that same plane. The plane of the moon, okay, is tilted, and it actually goes up and down and moves around a little bit. So the declination of the moon, okay, is how far the moon is above or below the ecliptic. So where she rises in her orbit to go north, right where she crosses the ecliptic, is the north node of the moon. That is Rahu, the dragon's head, and has to do with the future. And then in her orbit, when she goes around and crosses the ecliptic going south, it's called the south node of the moon, or Ketu, the dragon's tail. And that has to do with the past. So here we have like the soul's journey. The nodes have to do very much, obviously the moon has to do with feelings, emotional bonds and ties. And the moon has to do, with our inner child and our history, our upbringing and our mother and everything. So it has to do with the past moving towards the future. So twice a year, when the sun comes around, right now the sun has come around and this north node of the moon is moving through the sign of Taurus. And these nodes actually go around every 18.6 years. I will talk more about that in my presentation. But so the sun is right here, and this is at 25 degrees Taurus. And the moon, okay, 2 weeks ago, the moon came around and we had a solar eclipse because the moon came in between the earth and the sun, right? So that makes it the moon eclipsed the sun. Now, 2 weeks later, the moon has gone around and the earth is in between the sun, earth, moon. It makes a full moon, except it is so in alignment that the earth will block out the light from the sun from hitting the moon. The moon will be eclipsed by the earth. So it is called a total lunar eclipse. So this, this is very powerful. Now, 6 months from now, when the sun goes around on November 8th, okay, that sun will be in Scorpio, and we will have a south node eclipse. So twice a year, every year, we have a set of eclipses. And these eclipses, okay, fall in different points in your chart, depending upon, like I say, where the moon's nodes are along that ecliptic. They spend a year and a half in a sign. So in January, the North Node went into Taurus, and in July of 2023, the North Node of the moon will move into Gemini. Into Aries, because they go retrograde. So we have this year and a half, okay, all of 2022, with the North Node of the moon moving through Taurus. You want to find out where Taurus is in your natal chart by the time I come back to talk to you. In the meantime, okay, to go deeper into the interpretation and the meaning and the effects and the influence of these eclipses, let me introduce and bring forward Gonca. And I have to bring Gonca on here. Gonca, are you there?
Kaypacha?
Hi, Arwehn.
Yeah, hey, Gonca couldn't get in. I was trying to message you.
Oh no. The 100 people filled up so fast that Gonca didn't get in.
Yeah, and I was having troubles too. So what?
Oh no, it actually says that she's here now.
Is she okay?
Thank you. I'm going to make her the co-host. Gonca, are you there now? And could spotlight her for everyone. Hello, Gonca. Talk to us. Talk to us.
I guess I'm unmuted now.
Yay! There you are.
It take a while to get in.
It's the eclipse.
It's the eclipse, and I'm eclipse. Yes, I heard your introduction. Thank you so much, Kaypacha. I'm super excited to be here because one day I was just watching MPA's eclipse reports and falling in love with evolutionary astrology. Then I've been a student and now I'm talking here. Wow, it's been a dream coming true for me. So I'm super excited. I hope you're sharing my excitement too. As Kaypacha said, we are organizing a workshop here in Göbekli Tepe in Turkey. That's the first ever ritual place that we see. It's 12,000 years old. Wow. and it's set on Scorpio. They use the Scorpio's constellation to bring in the souls and to say goodbye to souls. So transformation, metamorphosis, and everything we can see super clearly. And guess what? That place is where Sabians were living in their lifetimes. And Kaypacha will come there and will teach on Sabians on that workshop. So as we are seeing a Scorpio eclipse in few hours. It's great place to talk about Göbekli Tepe too, I guess. And I see it as a great invitation to look our deeper states, because I'm a psychologist in a way, and this eclipse is more about psychoanalysis. But from 2019, when Uranus hit the Taurus, ingressed the Taurus for the last time and will stay there for 7 years, the transformation begins inside of our souls and hearts with the relationship with ourselves, with the Mother Earth, and everything. The economy needed a place to really change and transform. So world created pandemic, right? We are all changing. And now, as we know, Scorpio is deep transformation. I won't talk about the transformation part of it, but being courageous enough, because when we see the fourth harmonic, it's more like Aquarius, Leo, and Scorpio Taurus axis. And as we're on the Scorpio Taurus right now, we can only change ourselves or see ourselves and find the balance with the Leo and Aquarius energy right now. So it's the courage that Leo has to look inside ourselves, because we already transformed so much. And I know we are feeling sometimes unworthy. We are dealing with our world right now, the transformation, and people loses their jobs, and sickness is all around the world. World is changing. There is a war, and everyone is kind of pain right now. So, but the gems that we like, the diamonds, the quartz we are using when we are meditating and everything, doesn't grow on trees, right? They grow under the ground with pressure, with darkness, with maybe pain. Who knows? Maybe they have pain too. In all these transformation, we are digging deep to find our gems. And it's an invitation to look into our own eyes, to find our gems and to find our path, to see that we are beloved children of Mother Earth, even if we do mistakes, even if we have shadows, dark side, greed, jealousy, anger, everything is inside of us. Now, we are taking the courage, we are taking the time, we are taking the pleasure of looking looking the eyes of our shadows to see what's really happening, to accept ourselves unapologetically, to be it's our prejudice to be our own selves. And this eclipse is really an invitation to cherish our ongoing transformation, and now to turn into metamorphosis. So as Jeffrey Wolf Green always says, the spiritual energy, this metamorphosis energy, comes with a comfortation. We are doing something, and we can feel that world is against us in a way. Everything is, there's a setbacks for everything. there is we are feeling like we are walking a path, but there are blocks inside of us. All the blocks and all the wars and all the unacceptance is sitting inside our hearts. So the first thing we can use is our breath, Aquarius, and we are sharing the same breath. It's like the trees that can talk from Turkey to Africa to Peru to USA, everywhere around. Trees can talk. And yeah, Kaypacha, you me too. Everyone. I'm here. Everyone is going through a process, and everyone is every three are can talk, communicate each other. So even if we are miles away in different countries, at the end, world has a one atmosphere square. So we are breathing the same breath. If we are giving out, exhaling love, you will get that love in a way. And so it's time to feel our breath, to go deep inside of us, to see shadows, and appreciate ourselves, to be here today, digging deep, open to transformation, open to love, and put our heart with courage, with love, with understanding to each other, with acceptance. And the shadow work best goes on with the Scorpio at the times when we really get angry to something, when they really hit our buttons and trying to show us, tick, tick, are you there? Are you going to change? Are you going to listen your soul? And it's a great chance, as the veil around the world is thinner right now. The information is coming and going. The souls are here to help us to see, to hear, to feel, and use our five senses as sun in Taurus. So it's it's a invitation to really meet ourselves. As Rumi says in Turkey, there is a place, there is no wrongs or right doings, and we will meet there. So the Taurus energy and the Scorpio metamorphosis invite us to that place without right doing and wrong doing, and we can meet there. What do you think? Do you have any questions? If I can see the chat here. Andrea says, resonate with message. How long? That's a great question. It's like, every eclipse seasons goes 1.5 years, as long as it's in Taurus Scorpio axis. But I will say it's until 2026 in a way. Why? Because we see the last eclipse at Taurus Leo energy at 2019, and Uranus last ingress is in Taurus was 2019 too. So Uranus will be there for 7 years, and the Saturn, the great teacher, is on the place for a while, Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, and now Saturn squares the nodes. Saturn is always there to remind us the 7 years will be a great transformation. And next year in March, Pluto will ingress to Aquarius, come back to Capricorn, and finally we will say Neptune and Pluto will ingress. Neptune will in Aries, Pluto will ingress in Aquarius. So I will say 7 years to go deeper. But this 1.5 years specifically will be our guide to find our gems deep inside ourselves, but with analysis. But more than that, I recommend compassion, self-love, and because when we are transforming, when we are on the way of transformation in a way, we go a little bit hard on ourselves. Oh, you did it again. You couldn't learn. It's a cycle. It comes again and everything. And now it's time to stop a little while. Oh, myself, my little self, you did it. You did it. You came this far. You've been through 2020 and everything. You are trying your best to meet with your soul's purpose and everything. And I know with this pressure cooking kind of weather, astrological weather, and everything in like Turkey is like crazy, I can say, and all world is like that. And in this craziness, yeah, you did it, girl. You did it, boy. I appreciate you. I appreciate your effort. So metamorphosis is like the caterpillar goes into its place and turns inside, just be silent, be compassionate and everything, and fly out as a butterfly. So to be that butterfly, we need to use this 1.5 year really to go deeper inside of 1 year left anyways, to go inside of ourselves and like be compassionate with that. I hope I answered your question. Yeah, Gia, great. And I don't see any more questions, so I will give the flag to my fellow graduate from MPA, Arwehn, and she will talk on this Ukrainian war and will compare it with Crimean war, if I spell it rightly. And here's Arwehn.
Hello, thank you so much, Gonca, for your wisdom. I always enjoy listening to you. So thank you very much. It was great, thank you. And so hello, everybody. And I wanted to bring in some history in particular Russian history, and compare the Crimean War with the war that's going on in Ukraine now. And there were some particular important events on the partial lunar eclipse on November 4th in 1854, which I will like build up the momentum to. So yes, the Crimean War started in 1853 and lasted till 1856. That was the war. It was a conflict between, it was one of the most important events of the 19th century, giving a sharp turn in the history of Europe. It was a conflict between the Ottoman Empire and, Russian Empire. And Ottoman Empire is today's Turkey. Which at that time, it was huge. It was North Africa, Middle East, and Southeastern Europe partially. And at that time, it was failing. So the Russians thought that they would take, the advantage of it, and they would take over the country. So it started with like the conflict between the the Catholic and Orthodox Church, and Russia made demands that it will come in to protect the Orthodox church members living in Turkey, and Turkey, of course, denied. And then one thing led to another, and then we are at war. And then they were at war, I'm sorry. And for 6 months Russia was winning, and the Great Britain and France decided to join the war because they were worrying that there was a danger that Russia would take over Turkey, and of course there would be like great control over the region. So they invaded Crimea, and in 1854, and they proceed with the siege of Sevastopol. And then the Russians decided to attack, to break that siege. And on November 5th, in 1854, the Battle of Inkerman happened, which was the attack of Russian forces on the Allied forces. And Russians lost that battle, and that battle happened just the day after the partial lunar eclipse. And what was uncovered, it was backwardness of the Russian army, the failure of the commands. Basically, the soldiers were, fighting this battle on their own. They didn't know what they were doing. And it was, badly organized. And just to give you the comparison, Russia had the advantage of 31,000 infantry, 4,000 cavalry, and 110 cannons. And at the same time, the Allied forces had only 15,700 infantry and 56 cannons. And, the Russians were defeated. And they didn't, see how backward they were. They basically proceeded with the war. They didn't see that was anything going on, that they didn't see the, what is it called? Not consequences, they didn't see anything wrong in there. They just proceeded. And of course, they lost the whole war. And within the battle itself, Russia had 5,000 dead, 7,000 injured soldiers, and at the same time, the Allied forces had 810 dead and injured 3,565. So we can see the difference, like, in between. Basically, the soldiers' count didn't, it didn't, the soldier's life didn't mean anything. And what I wanted to bring in is basically, as we are in this, Uranus in Taurus, which wants to, it was, it was a polarization of values. Very conservative Russia going against more liberal, Western world. And excuse me, oh my God. And this is what we see right now with Ukraine. We have the same thing going on with, Ukraine wanted to join European Union, and Russia doesn't want to allow it. They are conservative. They think they can control the country, that they can, dictate what do they do. And, this defeat in this war led then the next Tsar, Alexander II, he made like political, social changes within the system. During the war, Russia was still under the serfdom, which meant the farmers working they were not working their own lands. They weren't allowed to own it. They weren't allowed to buy land. They weren't free to move around. And it was all up for renewal as, Uranus in Taurus wants to change values. All of that wasn't sustainable, neither for a human being. It wasn't sustainable for, the earth. The resources weren't, you had like extremely rich people and then people living in poverty. Also within this war, what happened, who was drafted into the army, it was those serf, farmers. So then it led to famine. Army was confiscating horses. It was confiscating the food, so which led to famine and unbelievable social unrest. It was all up to, for a renewal. And at the same time, Tsar at the time, Nikolai I, he was living in this kind of like a bubble of, he was sure of the Russian greatness, and he thought that Russia will still, win. He didn't see the backwardness, and Russia was technologically, backward. And then, he pushed his country into the war with powerful, European advanced countries. So basically, instead of facing problems within his own, citizens, like he just wanted to gain more control and power over, lands in Turkey. So what I see the correlation here is kind of the same situation with Ukraine. Russia is facing many problems right now. There is a social unrest, any political opposition, they are all in jail. The same thing was during the war, during the Crimean War. It was incredible censorship then, as it is now in Russia. Nikolai I was still comparing his, army to the army that defeated Napoleon Bonaparte. And he just didn't realize that the country was really in a bad shape. And what I feel now, it's kind of the same thing going on with Russia invading Ukraine. And plus not to mention that Nikolai I, he got sick and died during the war, during the Crimean War. And, I've researched so much now before this webinar about what's going on in Russia, and there are rumors that Putin is not well neither. So, we don't really know what's going on in there and which decision is going to turn the events. However, definitely that lunar eclipse that happened on November 4th before the Battle of Inkerman, that was the turning point of the entire war. And then at the same time, Austria was ally with Russia, and then they started support Turkey, France, and the Great Britain. And so then, because of that, after the war ended, Russia didn't support politically Austria anymore. So that basically this war led to changes within, political changes, social changes in Europe, but in Russia as well, since Alexander II, the next Tsar, attempted to, reform the feudal system and free the farmers, so they were able to buy land, acquire education. They could move from place to another place. They could basically live as a free man. They could do whatever they wanted, as it wasn't allowed before. How did it really happen for them? Like this reform wasn't as smooth as we would like to see. There was also a lot of corruption around it. So, but the attempt to change values, to liberate, it was made. So, and I also feel like with this, what's going on now, we have to take into consideration as well, Uranus in Taurus resources, since Russia is a main supplier of a natural gas into Europe. And so now we see like disruptions of that. And also what we see is, Ukraine is a supplier of food to many countries, of grains. And what is happening now, like most of the, their export was going through on the ships on the Black Sea. And now all of this is blocked, food cannot leave. And, they are trying to find the other ways, but, it's limited. Doing it by ships, it was the easiest way. Also, I know that Ukraine now, it's not going to be exporting food till the end of 2022, because because of the war, they cannot, grow crops as they did before. So we will see disruptions in, food supplies, and but also energy, distribution throughout Europe. So I feel like the countries now are going to have to be more self-reliant in that matter, which the North Node in Taurus is all about, self-reliance and sustainability. Yes, so I think, also, I would just hope that the events that are going on right now, and this need to reform the values, to have more better sustaining for humanity, for the planet values, if Russia could just you know, see and address the problems and its own citizens, take care of the well-being of its citizens, maybe they will finally do that. I don't know, one can only hope for it. But yes, so I'm sorry, it was a little chaotic there. So if anybody has any questions about it, but anyway, yeah, so the chart, what I have from this eclipse on November 4th of 1854, basically it was Uranus in Taurus, 14 degrees. It was on top of conjunct the North Node in Taurus in 22 degrees. And Pluto was in Taurus at that time as well. And yes, so anybody has questions around it? Thank you. By understanding this, we can find some fresh solutions. Yes, this sounds also in the change values, because the current leadership is drunk on power, totally starving their people intentionally in the process. Yes, it seems all catastrophic events happens around big transits. Yeah. Yes. So anybody has questions? More questions? Oh, you're welcome. Yeah. Would you like to see a bit ahead? I'm sorry, I don't. Would you like to see a bit ahead? What would be your take on how long this war will last? I don't know. As I was listening to analysts, like political war analysts, they are saying that this war can go on for 20 years, which I am hoping it will not. However, as I was trying to catch up on the news today before this webinar from many different sources to kind of get the a perspective view of it, you know, Russian officials are trying to now portray to the people that now Russia is in war not only with Ukraine, but with the European Union and the world. And so maybe they are preparing to announce the defeat to their own people. But I don't know. And what I also wanted to mention, you know, like in that prior war, allies joined the forces, you know, liberated, like more progressive, you know, Great Britain, France, you know, joined forces with Turkey. Same thing we see now, you know, the whole Western world is sharing, you know, the resources with Ukraine. So maybe they are not there physically, but there is really, we can see a great support as President Biden, I think, just signed up this, you know, huge $40 billion aid in military, you know, supplies and humanitarian, you know, help to Ukraine. So, yes. Would this war be linked astrologically to World War II, how it unfolded with Uranus in Taurus and then Hitler's own demise towards the end? I didn't check on that on cycles, since I was looking into specifically for eclipses. So in my research, I was going by Uranus in Taurus and eclipses associated with it. So I was going back and back, and it got me to, you know, 1854. But I would have to see the chart of the Second World War at that time. Cycle. So Just like World War II. But I would love to be, I would love to pick up the topic on Telegram and, with NPA, and we can follow up with this discussion. Then I would check the chart and the charts of what was going on in there. So, yeah. So any more questions? I think it would be to look at the chart of Russian and the eclipse, Ukraine. Yes, definitely. So, yes, I didn't do that. I should have. So, thank you so much. Thank you for listening. And I'm sorry for my little got a little bit hung up in there. So thank you very much. And now I would like to introduce Brandy. She will talk about spiritual meaning behind Taurus Scorpio axis and its trine to the Mars-Neptune conjunction. Thank you very much. And Brandy.
Thank you, Arwehn. Thank you so much. That was so beautiful. So I've been really enjoying your presentations today, everybody. Thank you. I'm Brandy Joy, everybody. I am a new faculty here at New Paradigm Astrology. And I've also been teaching occult practices for about 20 years now, including tarot, evolutionary astrology, and tantra, including high magic practices, among other things. So I'm here with you today to talk to you just for a few moments before I introduce Kaypacha for all of you, our superstar. I'm just going to talk to you very quickly about how it could affect you. How can you use this energy, right? So how many of you have noticed that there's a lot of trauma? There's a lot of inner child, wounded child, trauma type stuff coming up for people lately, and people kind of acting out. Anybody notice that? It's getting a little crazy, right? Yeah, so Uranus went into Taurus a few years ago, and that kind of started like this whole Taurus stuff. Taurus is our root chakra. Taurus is at the bottom of your body, right? That's where we connect to the earth, right? So we have Taurus and we have Scorpio is where these eclipses are beginning. And they've already begun with Uranus going into Taurus, because Uranus kind of just shocks everything, breaks everything up. It makes you kind of want to fix things. Okay, so once that happened a couple of years ago, now we have the eclipse seasons coming with Taurus, Scorpio, Taurus, Scorpio, Taurus, Scorpio. Taurus is the root chakra. Okay, Scorpio is your second chakra, your emotional center. Okay, and so we have this reconnect with the earth coming up. More and more people are being called into things like shamanism, into things like tantra, reconnecting with themselves, reconnecting and reintegrating wholeness into themselves. So reconnecting with the earth is so important right now. As we have this Taurus, Scorpio eclipse coming, it'll last another year and a half, right? So this Taurus stuff that you have going on, it has to do with survival instinct. It has to do with your connection to nature, your connection to other people in the way of sex for pleasure and having babies, right? Instincts and mating and things like that. But then your second chakra is the Scorpio chakra, the connection to other people, the emotional center. And what do? We push everything down into those two chakras when we feel threatened or something comes up and we don't want to think about it or it affects us emotionally, we start pushing it down, right? And so that's what this is bringing up. This is bringing up the stuff that we have all been pushing down into our first and second chakras. Those chakras that connect us to the earth and connect us to other people. So that's why you're noticing that's where all the traumas go, right? And so that's what's boiling up for people. And people are having a hard time controlling themselves. Really, they're having a hard time keeping that suppressed anymore. It's just kind of coming out. Right. So this first and second chakra stuff, it's a good time to start practicing things that will heal you and reintegrate wholeness into your life. So one of the big things that I love is cord cutting, right? Cord cutting, cutting those old cords of trauma that have happened with other people, right? Because that's where we start connecting is lower, right? If we've been with somebody romantically, second chakra, big time, especially also third chakra, because that's like our self-esteem and everything. So these like emotional centers in our body, these lower chakras are being highly affected right now. And it's a good time to release, because Pluto and Scorpio, right? The Pluto is ruled by the Scorpio, right? Scorpio is all about release, releasing the toxins, cutting the cords, going into the underworld. Really important right now, which means reconnecting with parts of yourself that you've suppressed, shadows, right? Traumas, those types of things. So right now we also have Mars, Neptune over in Pisces getting together this week, and they are in a very harmonious, what we call a trine to this eclipse. And this, Mars is the warrior, right? And so Neptune is spiritual. So the spiritual warrior, this is a great time to go into stillness. If you haven't been meditating, if you haven't been working on your inner self, this is going to kind of push you into it. So it's a good time to create stillness. And we're all in like this almost like stormy, fiery kind of energy right now. So it's a good time to create stillness within that, create peace within yourself, and work on healing those lower chakras for yourself. And if you've noticed, right, people have just disconnected so much from the earth and these planetary issues, right? This is Taurus stuff. This is all about, you know, you reconnecting with the spirit part of yourself, to cut those cords, reconnect with nature, reconnect with spirit. And also Mercury is going backwards right now. It's retrograding back into Taurus this month. That's all about reflecting and really getting back into the groundedness. And again, reconnecting with spirit. So what I would say to do is do some grounding exercises, grounding meditations, breathing into the earth, going down into a trance state, speaking to, I don't know, a tree outside, right? Reconnecting with the land that you live on. I don't care if you're in a high-rise building, right? Reconnecting with the land, just focus in on it, speak to it, ask it, you know, what can I do to create more peace in my own home environment and wherever I'm at, right? So anyways, that's just a little bit about how you can psychologically work with these energies. And also with, you know, working on those first, second chakras. That's just what I want to kind of push everybody into, is reconnecting with themselves, reconnecting with earth, cutting old trauma cords. So anyways, any questions or any thoughts about any of this? No? Mm-hmm. All right. I just want to give it 1 minute because sometimes a question will pop up on the Zoom chat and then I'm already moving on. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. Really nice to meet all of you. And I am now going to introduce our superstar of the webinar, Kaypacha, and he is going to actually talk to you about how this is going to affect you, depending on which house it's hitting. So welcome, Kaypacha.
Welcome to New Paradigm School of Astrology, Brandy Joy. Fantastic. That was really, you hit so much of the core of, to me, what I sense this is about. We want to understand that these moon's nodes, the north node, the dragon's head, is biting off into the future. It is the path of evolution. It is going into the unknown. So, this unknown future is where we are being pushed, where we are being called, where we will be fed, where we will grow through. So this is happening in the sign of Taurus, like I said, from January of this year till July of next year. But the eclipses really bring it to the foreground. So this time now, okay, it's the North Node eclipse, okay, was 2 weeks ago. And the North Node eclipse, when the moon comes around, the sun and the moon joined together. It was a new moon on the North Node of the moon. That was a time of really receiving inwardly from spiritual realms, new insights, new seeds, new capacities, new potential, new opportunities, new ways of looking at things, maybe a new set of values, or a new source of income, or a new person. So there was this. This is a very potent time. These moon's nodes have to do, okay, with emotional, lunar, connections with people from past lifetimes, and souls and people that are going to assist us in going forward on our soul's journey of evolution in future lifetimes. So you really want to be awake and aware of your environment, of who is around, of what is around, of who you're meeting, or who bumps into you in the line at the grocery store. I mean, you never know how this is going to happen, especially when Uranus is there. So eclipses always have this kind of Uranian, sudden, unpredictable events, that like shake things up, that, disturb the normal flowing routine, where we may just fall asleep, where we may just be habitual. And speaking of habits, let's look at the south node of the moon in Scorpio, because the south node of the moon has to do, okay, with the past, the known, the familiar, the habitual. It is the path of least resistance. This is the way I've always done it. This is the way that I've always made my money this way. I've always pleased myself this way. I've always found, this attractive. I've always been all these kinds of repetitious. I always go to the same channel, or watch the same series, or this past, now moving through Scorpio, is saying that it is a time where each and every one of us, okay, can have our tendency to rely upon outside sources for pleasure, for money, for income, for security, for ideas, for self-realization. I am going to realize myself, through this other person, or through this job, or through this corporation, or through, this currency, whatever, I mean, a stable coin, right? Isn't it perfect? Stable coin. It is the bank's attempt at, like going into and, controlling the whole crypto market. We're going to make a stable coin. Yesterday, it dropped 99% of its value. Just kaboom, a sudden shocking event. Okay, the Ukraine war, another sudden shocking event. And we are going to continue to experience these sudden shocking events that are basically indications that say it is time for each and every one of us to step into personal self-development. I can no longer rely on my old ways of codependency, of waiting for other people, of looking for other people, of following other people, and I just think of, Scorpio is the sign of birth and death and resurrection. And it has so much to do with these mysteries of life and death. And this one thing is, it came to me today. It's like, oh, I can't live without you. Oh, I can't live without that. Oh, if I lost my car, I would die. Oh, if if you ever come into this place of, I can't live without this, that, or the other, Well, this is just prime territory for the south node of the moon in Scorpio to prove to you and to show you that, guess what? You can live without this, that, or the other thing. You are more than the sum total of what you have gathered from external sources. We are all being thrown back in upon ourselves. This is a time where we need to, just like Brandy said, okay, just like Gonca said, this is a time where we need to find our inner gems. We need to back away from the drama. Scorpio is intensity and drama. It has to do with revenge. I'm going to get back at you. You are mine. You can't do that. It's about power. It's about seduction. It's about manipulation. It is about exploitation. And we have this going on left and right. Facebook is exploiting us. Google is exploiting us. The governments are exploiting us. We are being exploited like all over the place. And so, this has to do, it's like these huge red flags. And like Brandy said, back to nature. I got to say, there's nothing dramatic about Taurus. Taurus is simple Simon Says. It is this polarity of intense drama versus inner peace and serenity, self-pleasuring, okay, self-meditating, finding my core value. What am I good at? Maybe it's time for you to, begin a new hobby, a new source of income, a new job, a new way, and a new way of living with yourself, being with yourself, accepting yourself, loving yourself. And this has to do with letting go. Letting go of, but so-and-so always made me feel so good. And so-and-so told me I was valuable. And so-and-so, supported me. This is entering the void. Bringing relationships, jobs, living situations, sources of income, letting them go. Letting them come to completion, resolution, finishing up. And of course, then we all deal with fear, the fear of loss, the fear of betrayal, the fear of abandonment, the fear of being alone, the fear of being used, neglected, exploited. And what am I going to be or do without this in my life, without that in my life, without the other thing in my life? I am going to face my emptiness. I am going to face my inner void. I am going to face my longings and my longing to escape, or my longing to just go into a cave or hide out, or just deny that this is happening, stop reading the news, get off of social media, and this can be a time, particularly with this trine to Mars, Neptune, and Pisces, where yes, retreat, let go, face the fear, because the fear has its source and its roots in the ego. The ego lives in a state of separation. It lives in the sense of time and space and this third dimensional world where I am separate from the universe, from God, source, from love, from life, and I need to protect myself, and I need to feed myself, and if I, and living in separation creates a psychology that I can die, I can lose, I can fall out of the tapestry of life, that I am not one with all that is, and that spirit and source is not supporting me, is not nourishing me, is not feeding me. I am not connected to the divine. This is the source of fear. When we come into a deeper contemplation and a deeper understanding of our role and our relationship to love, love is the glue. Love, the healing power of love. Love is the greatest force in the universe. What's very powerful right now that we really want to focus on is not only the north node of the moon moving through Taurus. Taurus is ruled by Venus. Wherever the transiting north node is, the ruler of that sign is the energy in your natal chart that you want to focus on cultivating. You may have Venus in Pisces, Venus in Leo, Venus in the 9th house, Venus in the 4th house. While the node is moving through Taurus, you want to do your Venus. And the south node of the moon, moving through Scorpio, the path of least resistance, the path of habitual responses that is about devolution and going backwards. This is Pluto and Mars, the rulers of Scorpio. So this is not so much a time of seeking power and trying to control and dominate the situation and impress myself upon the other and the world at large and ambitiously drive myself into and force my opinions, my beliefs, my values on other people and other places and other ways. No. That will lead you to disaster. So this is not so much a time to be focusing. Look where Mars and Pluto is and the aspects that it plays and the roles that it plays in your natal chart. And, kind of put that on the back burner as you focus upon Venus by house, sign, and aspect. Now, with that kind of as a backdrop of this letting go of codependency, moving into self-reliance, particularly, as our other astrologers have pointed out, in our physical, the 5 physical senses, particularly touch, taste, and sensation of pleasure, of what brings us pleasure in a very physical way. And coming towards this Taurus energy is about focusing within on our own ability to love ourselves. We want to take that north node. We want to take this eclipse through the 12 houses of your natal chart and understand that this is coming to a very powerful point right now with this total lunar eclipse today. Like right now, as we are, on this webinar, the full moon is illuminating, reflecting back to us that it is, that it is really time. Now, this is a time of great aha moments of seeing our patterns, our weaknesses, and moving towards our strengths. So I'm going to take the nodes now through the different 12 houses of the chart to see, how you can apply this more personally to your own direct experience. And I'm going to share my screen for this. Let's see here. I've got an animated page. There we are. So, I'm going to start out with these, if you are a Taurus rising, and you may still have, like, as you can see here, the nodes are at 22 degrees. This eclipse is happening at 25 degrees. But if you are a Taurus rising, the north node of the moon is moving through your first house. And let's not forget that November 8th is another lunar eclipse. Only by November 8th, the sun will have moved around to the south node. And the south node will have moved to an earlier degree of Scorpio. So when people ask how long this is going to last, the influence of an eclipse lasts for approximately 6 months until the next eclipse. However, this next eclipse is still on the same Taurus-Scorpio axis. So even the next eclipse, which will be a lunar eclipse in Scorpio, that's going to have its influence for the next 6 months. So we are looking at this particular energy, of being thrown back upon our own resources, needing to simplify, needing to find our own unique value. And if we have been, say, holding that job at the bank, or holding that job at the movie theater, or holding that job at the gas station, just to have an income, just to have, just to pay the rent, just to be secure, just to feed ourselves, that's not what your life is about. That's not what your evolution is about. Your evolution is not about just simply surviving. It's about finding your gold, finding your gift, finding what you have been born to bring into this world that no one else can do, bring, say, paint, sing, give, serve, however. So this is a time of us finding our own unique way forward. And life is assisting us by taking away our training wheels, because we have to ride the bike, by taking away our crutches because we have to learn how to walk, by taking away our diapers because we have to learn how to control our excrement. I don't know where the hell that came from, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, maybe you don't. Okay, and so let's go to the houses here. If you are a Taurus rising and these nodes are happening, in your first house versus the 7th house, this is a time for you, of stepping up to the plate. It's your turn to bat. It's your turn to run. It is your turn to decide. It is your time to assert yourself. This is the first house of myself, my instinctive needs, desires, my passions, my excitement, and that I am going to go for it. I am going to lead. I am the bow of the boat. I need to break the water. I need to initiate. Ready or not, like it or not, with all the self-doubt or all the self-loathing or all the, guilt or shame that I've got, it's like, oh my God, I have to face all that and put that behind me and go forward ahead, trusting my heart, my instinct, my excitement, my body, my passion, my desire, and knowing that I am one with Source. Lead the way. Initiate. The path of least resistance, right? The path of, habitual responses that are going to lead us into chaos, drama, loss, is an over-reliance upon, waiting for approval, waiting for other people, waiting for my partnership, my, somebody else, okay, to just like really, give me the strength, give me the energy, looking for, what do you, asking for other people's opinions. The seventh house is the house of Libra, is the house of air. Let's think about it. Let's talk about it. What do you think about it? Do you think that's a good plan? Do you think I should quit my job? Do you think he would be a good partner for me? What does everybody do? I'm all, and I don't want to start something because it might piss off my mother. It might piss off my partner, or somebody's not gonna, somebody at work is not going to like it if I quit. So I'm in all this people pleasing, kiss ass, pound nose, what can I do for you and you and you and you? You want to get into this place of you can please some of the people some of the time. And right now, there's no way in hell you are going to please all the people all the time. So you need to stop being a people pleaser, and you need to please yourself. And, this can be very hard to do. We get a lot of religious conditioning. We get a lot of social conditioning. We get a lot of political, messages now like, think about this and this and this and this, and, send your money over here and send do this for everybody. It's like, for you, for this, for these people, for your time, if you're Aries rising or Taurus rising, and this eclipse is happening in your first house, I encourage you to put on some earmuffs, put in some earplugs, stop listening to everybody else, and tap in, like Brandy said, to that root chakra, to that second chakra, and go. Yeah, you see, that's kind of how we want to be looking at here. Let's just say that maybe you are a Aries rising. You could be Pisces rising. You might be having this, North Node eclipse, the sun, on the North Node in your second house. This is the natural horoscope, right, of Taurus, and that's second house. And the idea here then is, just double fold. It's manifold. It's just like exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, self-sufficiency. I am enough. I have enough. And if I don't feel that, all I need to do is dig deeper within myself to find a new source of income, a new capacity, a new talent, a new way of being. This is a time of changing values. Maybe your mother and your father in your childhood or your partner, really thinks that it's important to get the jab. It's important to wear a mask, or it's important to, be married. It's important to be, this is what it's like to be a good mother or a good father or a good partner. This is the eighth house of other people's values. And we go along. We are strongly influenced by other people's values. We are manipulated through guilt and shame in particular. Oh, shame on you. That's immoral. That's unethical. That's, you're going to go to hell. That's bad. That's wrong. All this, this energy around other people's values and them impressing their values on us when we're small. When we're young, we have no choice. They're feeding us, they're clothing us, they're housing us, right? We have no choice but to accommodate and live according to other people's values and live off of other people's resources. I can't think of a baby. I mean, you just can't survive. So, but as we grow, as we evolve, as we mature, we got to step up and say, just a minute, that's not important to me. That's not what I've been striving for this, or working at that, or my dad made shoes, so I'm going to make shoes, and because that's what I was taught to do, and blah, 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 but I hate making shoes. So this is a time where these people in particular may be confronted with, that this is ugly, or this is not working. This doesn't fit me. This is horrendous. This is violent or crude or obnoxious, or, I just don't want to smell that smell again, or, get stuck in that position again. It's just like, wow. So, it involves this moving into this second house of I am enough, and I have enough. And if it's causing me a lot of strife and anguish, and it's draining my energy and my kundalini and all my chi that wants to, rise, and my life force is being drained by this condition, situation, person, relationship, it's got to go. It's got to go. So when we see this emphasis of the North Node, particularly in the first and the second house, it is about me feeding, loving, holding, and standing for myself on my own, independently. Boom. Really coming into, it's a double signature. Okay, where it's time for me to be a little bit on my own. And let's just say that you might be Pisces rising, or as you can see here, like a late Aquarius rising. And if this is North Node, then we'll be in your third house. And this third house, I like to call it the house of daily reality. It is the house of be here now. Be focused in the moment. Take care of your business. Use your communication, Mercury, third house, your education. Take a new course, take a new workshop, become a student of something new. Okay, network, get out there on social media. This is a time of really focusing your energy on expanding your network. Okay, and earning money through network. It's not what you know, it's who you know. This is the third house of friends and associations and business and getting things done and getting things, happening, and not so much, okay, about what is the ninth house. It's over the hills and far away. And let's get philosophical, and let's look at the big, high, broad picture, and the long range, effects of what we're doing, and all the international, the Ukraine war, and and what's going on in China, and what's going on, with the Biden administration, and going way. It's like whoa. You don't need to convince and convert and bring other people over to your point of view, or be strongly influenced by outside religions, okay, or outside beliefs, or this is a time of letting go of what you have been told is true. Ninth house, the death of old beliefs that no longer serve my evolutionary development as a unique individual. Yeah. So this is the thought axis. This is the philosophical axis. This is the multicultural, international axis. This has, so much to do with the Holy Grail, the greater meaning and purpose of life. And these people, it's now time to find that greater meaning and purpose of life in mindfulness. Mindfulness of what is right here, right now, in front of the tip of my nose. Being very present. Go read the book by Ram Dass, Be Here Now. Or, what's his face? The leprechaun. The Power of the Now. It's another good one by, so, I mean, I love him, but I'm seeing his face more than his name. Okay. Anyway, so you get this idea. Yeah. Get idiot out of my team. So let's say that you're a Capricorn rising. Okay, or maybe you're Aquarius rising. You've got this north node of the moon, this solar and lunar eclipse, the sun happening on the north. We just call it a north node eclipse season. This is a time for you to come home to yourself, to come home to your feelings, to work out of the house, to dwell, upon your inner world, your past, your roots, your family, okay, your inner world. It's time for you to find your own, be your own mother, your own father. Maybe it's time for you to buy a house. Maybe it's time for you to move, okay, out of someone else's house into your own freaking house. And maybe you can't afford a house, so you have to get an apartment. But this is all I can say. This is really this time period, okay, where it's important for you to get in touch with your personal feelings. And really, find out what nourishes you on an emotional level, on a root chakra, second chakra level. It's coming in and coming down. The habitual, okay, the way of the past, or what you need to let go of, is being a workaholic, of avoiding your feelings, of staying overly busy and overly occupied, seeking kudos, seeking pats on the back, looking for acknowledgement in the outside world, getting that raise or getting more subscribers, or, being out there, looking good, being an authority, okay, and, advancing your career, and, like you're going to, that is going to lead you to disaster. Because you now, see, what happens is these nodes are on a cycle, like I said, of every 18.6 years. And if you don't pay attention to your roots and your foundation and your inner emotional needs and the needs of your family right now, 9 years later, right, when these nodes have reversed, and that north node is in Scorpio, and we have these eclipses again on the Taurus Scorpio axis, only they're reversed, you're going to be it's like a tree that's going to grow with no roots. It's going to be a mushroom that pops up and just falls over. Yeah. So this is a time of setting solid roots by really listening inwardly to yourself, so that in the future you can advance and be all the greater, bigger, wider, more of an authority, more of an elder, have a greater impact on the outside world because you've done your inner work. This is so much about inner work. Taurus is about inner work. The fourth house is about inner work. So you're getting a double message. Go inside. The answers lie within. Yeah. Fifth house. Let's say you're like a Capricorn rising or Sagittarius rising. You got this eclipse happening in the fifth house. The fifth house is a sign of Leo in the natural horoscope, ruled by the sun. Okay, if you've got this, happening in that fifth house, this is a house of coming again into my creative manifestation, expression, turning myself inside out. I always think of a half of a grapefruit or a half of an orange, exposing, right? What has, been protected and inward. And this is my, this is my special little thing. And this is my hobby, or this is, just what I do for fun, or this is just my passion or what I like. And just like showing it to the world, being authentic, an authentic expression of my unique self, of my inner child, my need to play, my need for fun, my need for adventure, my need for romance. This is about really enjoying and feeling supported. I'm an agent of life. The sunlight is coming through me. I am a beam of light. I am special. I am unique. I am amazing. You know how many messages we get from the time that we are born to sit down and shut up and don't be egotistical and don't be a narcissist. And who do you think you are? And, what makes you think you're so special? And blah, 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 blah. I mean, oh my goddess. It's a shame. Being special, being unique, being amazing does not have to diminish anyone else. You being big does not mean that you have to make anyone else small. We can all be big. We can all be special. This is a time where these people need to have their day in the sun, their day under the spotlight. This is a time for you to get up and get out and grab that microphone, make that YouTube video, throw that party at your house, and just shine your light. Put on your, if you've been painting for a while, get your stuff out there in the gallery, right? Expose yourself. Show yourself, and where the path of least resistance, the path leading to disaster, the path of this is again this waiting around for friends, groups, associations, waiting for the green light, from Elon Musk or, some artificial intelligence or some stock market or some world, some corporation or, hanging out, looking for approval, looking for support, financial, intellectual ideas, and even hanging out in your own head, right? The 11th house has to do with the future, with science, with investigation, again, what is beyond? Air castles in the sky. Okay, let me do a systems analysis. let me do a product, what do they call it? Like a product review. Let me see if I'm going to fly, through all of these, channels, that are established, this is the way business has always been done. Or, this is the way that, the society works. And, before I take any risk, before I take any challenges, before I take any chances, before I gamble, the fifth house is the house of gambling. You people need to be taking a gamble. Life is a freaking gamble. Yeah. And so, this hanging out, waiting, oh, well, let me analyze everything and make sure I'm going to win before I even start playing the game. That is just like, it's holding back our genius. It's putting, too much. It's just, mental masturbation. It's just hanging around in my head and my thoughts and my ideas. And, I'm going to wait for the stock market to recover. I'm going to wait for, crypto to come back. I'm going to, wait for inflation to go down. I'm going to, I'm going to have all, I'm going to just like wait for the perfect condition before I take a chance and do my thing. It's not going to work, baby. Don't wait. This is the time to create. Sixth house. Say that you are Scorpio rising. You could be Sagittarius rising. But you've got this north node of the moon happening in the sixth house. The sun conjunct the north node of the moon in the sixth house. This is now a time for you to get self-discipline, get self-control, create a healthy routine, eat your Wheaties, do your yoga, okay, find a healthy regimen, a healthy practice, build up your resources, build up that bank account, roll up your sleeves and dig in and dive in. You need to be working with coworkers. You need to be working with other people. You need to be working on yourself, through yourself, with yourself to perfect and to really prepare. Okay. Not hang out in dreamland, 12th house, escape, avoid, deny. It's too hard. It's too difficult. It's never going to happen. I don't have enough money. I'm not enough. I need other people. My partner left me. I'm going to have a pity party. I'm going to do this, that, or the other thing. I've lost money in the stock markets. I just want to, have a toke, have a drink, lose myself in sex, drugs, rock and roll, Netflix, books, whatever. This is, this is not a time to dream on. For these people, you got to come out of dreamland. You are the only one that is going to make your life spectacular, amazing, successful, and where you are going to have an effect. This is the house of service. This is the house of giving of yourself, of your time, of your talent, of your truth, of your wisdom, okay, of your power, and really lifting, assisting, healing the world, other people. It's time for you to show up for, and this can even be, I don't have enough money to contribute to charity. I don't have enough time to, go out and pick up litter, or, I don't have enough, resources to give away. I have to like hold on to everything myself. I encourage you, find some time. Believe in yourself enough trust yourself enough that you do have excess, that you are more than you think you are. And you will discover how great you are through giving yourself away and through giving your time, energy, and resources away. You will find that that you are more, that you have more, and that the river of life is coming through you to support you as you are not damming that river, but giving it away. It will be replenished and you will be restored and you will receive more. From where? From heaven, from magic, from the spiritual world. You are a channel at this time, and you have to have that faith and trust in your truth, in yourself, as one with all that is, that, you know, you got this. You got this. Yeah. And you will realize it through the process of doing it, if that makes sense. Seventh house. Yeah. Yeah. Now here we have the, you know, this is like the reversal, right? We're coming into, okay, the North Node is in the seventh house of other people, partnerships, relationships. And that South Node, okay, is in that first house of self. So here we have a situation of, I need to bring my values, my truth, myself into balance with this relationship and partnership. This is a time of working in and with and through partnership. You walk the fine line, okay, between imposing yourself and your values and your truth onto the other, onto your partners, onto your business partners, into the world at large, and the other side of not expressing, speaking, sharing your truth enough. This is where you can be too much or too little. You are really being challenged, okay, right? To not be overly dominating and to not be a wallflower, sit on the chair in the middle of the dance floor, right? This is the scales. This is the seventh house of learning cooperation, learning compromise without surrendering and sacrificing yourself, without being a victim, without being a martyr, without putting up all kinds of, drama of, oh my God, I'm not getting what I want and I'm not getting my way. And therefore, life is not fair and you're a ripoff and, and all this moaning and groaning and complaining. This is actually a time for you to, I don't want to say please your partner, but really bring yourself in to the relationship, to the partnership, and really, discover the value of a mirror, the value of a partnership, the value of, having someone there to reflect, your other side. The path of disaster is Scorpio in the first house. I am Count Dracula. Come to me. I will hypnotize you. I will seduce you. I will make you mine. I will suck your blood. I will, you see, this is that whole vampire action of using my sexuality, using my emotional, ways and guilt and shame and all kinds of ways to exploit partnership and relationship, to get out of sharing, out of compromising. No, I don't want to compromise. No, I'm going to dominate you. Scorpio is the sign of power. I'm going to overpower you. Get out of my way. You do what I want. You did it. It's like, oh man, that is out of integrity. That is, that is like, whew, that's where the dark shadow, can really, come in at this time. And you need to really see, this is a time of really discovering, your shadow. It's like, oh, wow, I have strong desires, and those desires, have driven me for a long time. And it's time for me to own that I am more than my impulses. I am more than just my desires. I have to become conscious, and through this consciousness, direct those desires and those impulses. Instead of just, wanting to, gather and eat and fill and orgasm and, feel good and have all of this myself, I need to come into mastery and master my desires, control, discipline myself, and really, find my, the value in this partnership and relationship. And this is, even doubly emphasized, right? Now we have this reversal. Taurus, like I say, this is a reversal because in the natural horoscope, Taurus rules the second house. Here we have Taurus in the 8th house. Okay. And moving towards this 8th house is really walking that fine line, because I do need to merge. There's only so much I can do by myself. I want to expand my power. I want to have a greater influence. I want to have a greater impact in the world. I want to realize myself, and I'm going to realize myself even more through merging and alchemically transforming myself through other people's understanding, sexuality, insights, psychology, shamanism. Okay, this is the house of alchemical transformation through union and allowing others and the outside world to be a catalyst. Alchemy requires 3 things: a container, a substance that wishes and desires to be transformed, and a catalyst that comes in and, mixes with the substance. Okay. And that substance is transformed, evolved. So there is a death of the old identity, a death of the old who I thought I was, what I thought was important in life, why I thought I was here. What my purpose, I thought the world everybody needed a paper airplane. So I started a company making paper airplanes, but, it went broke because I'm now finding, that not everybody needs paper airplanes. So I need to change my purpose. That's no longer my purpose. I got that purpose from, my dad. He was a pilot. Something, you know what I mean? So this is deepening through psychotherapy, through shamanism, through alchemy, through, something that we osmose, something that we allow into us to transform us. We allow ourselves to be penetrated, by something that is very powerful or very big or very beyond us. And it's scary. We face our fears. If my purpose is not that, or, that's not my identity, or, that's not how I'm never going to make money that way again, or whatever. But Who am I? What am I? I'm going to die. This is probably, one of the most intense locations these people are going through. Okay. Some of the most intense, energy right now. And what is the path of disaster? The habitual thing is the second house. No, I'm not going to change. I've always done it this way. This has always been, my source of income. I've been doing this job for 25 years. I am not about to go back to school or to get retrained or to, learn a new language or to, change. No. I am not going to change. I've been in this marriage for, 18 years, and we are sick of each other and tired of each other, and it's just going nowhere, and it's boring and it's dull, and I feel like I'm going to die. But we have a house, we have kids, it's financially secure. I'm not going back out there. I'm not going to lose my house or lose my money or lose my go through all the things that I could lose. And oh my God, I don't trust that I am one with all that is, and all that is will support me. I will survive. Oh, that's the song for my next Pele report. I will survive. As long as I know how to love, I know I'll be alive. Something like that. Anyway, you get this? So don't be stubborn. Don't hang on to the last shred of, you will lose. It's time. Don't forget, you never lose what's really yours. Let's say this is happening in your 9th house. Okay. And your path of the future then is to really go forward and to go up, out, and away. And this is to look at the long run, the long term, the bigger, wider, broader picture. Go to university, study Buddhism, go follow the Dalai Lama, you get a guru, step out of your little narrow, I was born in the United States, it's capitalistic, it's democratic, it's materialistic, it's, big is better. This is the way that we do things in the United States. The 9th house says, well, you know what? It's different in Thailand. It's different in Brazil. There's different ways, different cultures, different belief systems, different values of nature. The 9th house is natural law. Go back to nature, follow natural law, get out of this 3rd house mental, stock market floor, the stock exchange and the business and the, what's right here and here now and here now and here now and here now. You need to step up. You need to step out into the, looking at, okay, the deeper, higher meaning of life. You have a greater purpose in your existence. You are here to do something much more than you thought. And it's a time of expansion. And do not, limit your expansion. If you just stay with your nose to the grindstone, and I've got the same old thoughts and the same old ideas and the same old beliefs and the same old friends and the same old and I'm gonna fight for the same stuff that I've always. It's like no. This is a time for you to let go of some of the same old thoughts, ideas, and beliefs, and embrace an expanded reality. The 10th house. This is again, the opposite of the 4th house, right? This is a time Taurus in the 10th house is saying, okay, it is time for you to pay attention to public opinion. It is time for you to pay attention to your reputation, to the impact that you are having, to what other people are saying. Are you doing your duty? Are you fulfilling your office? Are you meeting your commitments? It's time to get out there and not be a baby, not be, not stay at home. You may be like, oh, I just want to stay home. Lockdown was great. I just, sat with my remote control and, whatever, sat in front of my Zoom computer. And no, this is, a time for you to realize, okay, after, like I say, 9 years ago or whatever, that when the moon's nodes were reversed, now is your time, okay, to capitalize, okay, to really show up for the world, to leave your legacy, to build your business, to build your, make your mark in the world, on the world, and to, again, listen, to, and absorb and take in, okay, what the world needs, so that you are not just spewing out. It's like everybody wants chocolate and you're out there with strawberry, and then nobody's buying your strawberry. And then you're like, pissed off. Or it's like, well, nobody loves me or nobody wants me. It's like, no, you know what? Open up your eyes. Look around, man. You can meet the needs of the world by modifying, altering, growing, expanding, and changing. You've got more talent or more capacity or hidden talents, and now is the time to become aware of them through outward manifestation. And in some ways similar to this, what is this North Node in the 11th house? The 11th house is service to humanity, a world servant. It's impersonal. It's listening to divine intelligence. It's listening to the global consciousness. Okay, it is really being an agent of the future, a prophet, a visionary. This is really time for you to give up and get out of my passionate relationships and my love affairs and all my intense desires and needs for fulfillment and fun and pleasure and romance. And I'm too busy, filling myself, and playing around and having fun. This, I have to say, is a time for you to put some of your own, energy, your own, what can we say? Indulgence, self-indulgence would be the detractor. Okay, for this Cancer rising, Leo rising, Gemini rising, whatever. If this node is moving through your 11th house, this is really about taking that Kundalini energy and bringing it up out of those roots and really dedicating yourself to the future and showing up, for your brothers and sisters, and in reinventing yourself, innovating, coming forth with, this is, this is a new idea that I had. This is, something special, something, my unique gift to the world. Now's your time to give it. Yeah. You see how this works. I mean, it becomes obvious over time. The 12th house. Where are you going? Okay, this is a time of pulling back, This is a time of retreating. This is a time of meditating, of going into mysticism, of doing, eclipse ceremony, and full moon dancing, naked out under the stars, just like, opening yourself up to be moved by spirit, to be moved by the universe, ecstatic dance. Okay, this is not a time of, sixth house, self-discipline, self-control, and order, and, and service, and lining up all my ducks in a row. Actually, this is a time of moving into chaos, surrendering to the void. It's like, oh my God, I've got no idea. My whole life is falling apart. Yeah, good. When something falls apart, it's going to reassemble and resurrect again in a new way. The 12th house is the house of no self, of no ego. It's the house of spirit. So, this is a place of ultimate faith, hope, and love. You want to be moving towards faith, hope, and love, and not be afraid of giving yourself away, of surrendering. And it can even be sexually, it can be physically, financially. Okay, this is Taurus in the 12th house. It's just like, oh my goodness, I can offer pleasure. I can give pleasure to other people. I can massage. I can, be a philanthropist and give my money to this cause and that other, and we can all face our fears that, we're not beautiful enough, or we're not good enough, or we're not rich enough, to give. This is learn by doing. Find out how much and how big and how awesome and how amazing and how infinite you are by giving yourself away, and by giving what you have away, and discovering that, oh my God, I'm more than that. And I have some more. And I can give some more, and I've got it, and there's more coming in, and people do like it, and people do love it, and and I'm not going to, be a martyr, and I'm not going to, die, and whatever, all these kinds of, head games that we play on ourselves and other people. So this is, the 4th, 8th, and 12th houses, these water houses, they all have to do with a certain amount of surrendering, a certain amount of endings. They are the houses of endings, 4, 8, and 12. If you have this, these eclipses, moving through, this is a time for, really surrendering and allowing and trusting and believing that if it's, what goes around comes around, and what I give comes back, and vice versa. What I don't give doesn't come back. And if I'm going to be in fear, and I'm going to contain, and I'm going to withhold, and I'm going to, wait for whatever I think, is the right time, the right person, the right place, the right, I'm going to ignore all the signs of life, and I'm going to just unconsciously remain in fear and not give anything. No, nothing's going to be coming back, baby. And then I'm going to sit there with the real head scratch going, gosh, nothing's coming, nothing's happening. Nothing's coming to me. Nothing is, where's that new guy, that new girl, that new job, that new check, that new, that new money, that new house. It's like nothing's going on. Well, yeah, you got nothing going on. Think about it. Ow! I'm sorry. I went over and over and over, and but I hope that this was enjoyable, educational, informative, that you, got something, out of our time together, and understand the nature of eclipses, the moon's nodes, how you can take astrology and apply it to your everyday life to create a better life, to, just like have a good time. Have a good time. I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad to welcome Brandy to the New Paradigm School of Astrology. I thank Arwehn and Gonca, for being there. I hope if you are not in the school that you join the school and get more of Brandy and get to meet Jessica and Cindy, our other faculty teachers that were unable to make it to this webinar, but they do videos and they answer questions on Telegram, and they're right there to help you in your studies. So with all that being said, the only other thing left to say is namaste, aloha, so much love.